This episode of On the Ropes is brought to you by BWC. Boxing with Chris is a YouTube channel and podcast that covers the latest in boxing news, updates on prospective fighters, as well as interviews of both past and present boxers. Be sure to follow us on YouTube and Instagram for more updates and news. BWC, keep it A more than 92. If you would like to have your advertisement featured here, please email boxingwithchrismedia@gmail.com. Enjoy the pod.
YouTube, what's going on? You're now boxing with Chris BWC. Joining me today, Queens finest, Lou Duvall, my brother. Record of 36-6, 17-year career. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing great, man. I see
in the office. In the office. I want to get into growing up in Queens. Obviously, you told me you were from Queens. Queensbridge, to be exact. I see it. Big names, Roxanne, Nas, Prodigy, big names, Ron Artest.
But the only world champion.
Only world champion from Queens. You hold that.
All basketball players. They were all rappers. Yeah. Yo, I remember my brother growing up with Ron Artest, right? I don't want to diss him. His name is World Peace. But, I don't know. But I remember doing a video with Nas, right? And my little brother was like, this is when he was playing for St. John's. My little brother goes, you think he's going to remember me? I said, of course he's going to remember you. You and him used to fight all the time and argue. My brother's little, he's big, right? So when we see him, he goes, my brother's name is Juan Rosario. It's her father. He goes, his name was Pee-wee. He goes, Pee-wee. I said, I told you he was going to remember you.
I want to talk to me. How did you get into boxing? Coming from a neighborhood, especially where you were from, where it's a big basketball, music-oriented side of Queens. How did boxing fall into your lap? Or did you play any sports?
I was a pure athlete.
Played every sport?
Yeah, so when I seen Hector Camacho fight, he was Puerto Rican, I was Puerto Rican, and I seen he was a lefty, right? I seen he was a southpaw, and I emulated him. That's why my knuckles was this way, because I knew how to fight already. Like, when you got a guy in the street, they use their power in their front hand. I knew the remedy, and it always came natural to me. And then when I got on drugs, I moved to the Bronx, and I looked at a place named Morris Park, and it said free lessons, and I went in. I started at 20 years old.
So you started boxing late, way later than your average Joe.
My sister, 27, she's in the Boxing Hall of Fame.
And then, so who was the OG that guided you on your early journey?
Ulysses Jimenez. He was a old school fighter, and but I was a natural, and I was hungry. I remember my grandmother. She used to make fun of me. She lived on the first floor. I lived on 164 in Girard. And she used to call me White Tyson. She used to say, because she didn't speak English, oh, White Tyson. Oh, she used to, this is funnier. She'd say, you should be a punching bag in the gym in Spanish.
And then, so did you jump into the amateurs or did you?
I jumped right in my first year. I won the gloves. I won 5 fights.
That only 5 amateur fights?
No,
One.
I had 3 amateur fights, but I had 5 victories to win the gloves.
Oh, all right. And then how many amateur fights before you went pro? Do you remember that?
Maybe a little less than 20.
A lot of people interact with boxing people in the amateurs. Did you fight anybody that turned out to be a pro in the amateurs?
Yeah, the guy I beat in the quarterfinals. He fought for the world title, heavyweight, Dominican. I forgot his name. He fought Ruiz.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. And did somebody make the decision for you to go pro, or was that something you knew after your first couple of the 10 amateur fights? That's something you wanted?
I fought in Bermuda on a pro-am card. And the guy that recognized me signed me.
And when you went pro, what was like a harsh reality that like, damn, this boxing shit, I love it, but this took me by surprise, whether it was business, money, something that made you like, wow, that's kind of fucked up.
In the beginning, it was politics. Like, the people in the game were fake. Nothing in boxing is real. That's how I had my attitude. Because I already knew what life was about. Remember, I told you I was on crack. I smoked Moolah blunts. I did drugs. That saved my life. When I went to move to the Bronx, I went hard.
Do you remember what you bought with your first big payday when that check first cleared? Your first big purchase? Went to the strip club? What you did?
Oh, I always went to the strip club, even when I didn't have the paychecks. I stayed in there. My nickname was the Wedge Hall.
From your era, was something that fighters from today should have picked up from your era that could help them achieve or get to the next level?
Hunger. You gotta want it. You gotta want it. And that's what these kids don't have. I had that hunger. I said, no matter what happens to me in this sport, this is how I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out like this. I wasn't gonna quit. And like I told you, I was an athlete. So I had nothing to lose.
And talk to me. How did you like end up meeting Roy Jones, getting into the camp, and being his sparring partner? Obviously, you guys fought later down the road.
That's my sister.
Oh,
she went to Pensacola. She
Florida.
went to Alabama University.
Oh, it's an athlete family. Is that the whole?
We was all athletes. We was ballers and everything. We had my sister played for Alabama University, but she had to go to junior college to get into Alabama.
And Roy Jones being one of the greatest fighters of all time, what was some of the things that when you trained with him, he was in the peak of his prime? What was one of the things that you learned from him, or that you can remember to this day that were just mesmerizing for an athlete?
I just knew I could compete with the best. That's what Roy Jones taught me. He taught me that if I could hang out with him, I could hang out with anybody. You gotta remember, when I fought Virgil Hill, he had 22 title defenses. 22. I only had 22 fights. 110 rounder. I smacked him. In North Dakota, in his hometown.
We talked about where we talk about, because I want you to say this on camera. When you talk about the Alex. What was his name? Alex Avila?
Alex Arribas.
Talk to me about the Manny Pacquiao, the steroids, and obviously you trained Ronald Garville, who fought David Benavidez twice. The first fight was a very good fight. He knocked down David Benavidez. The second fight, you told me that he had a cheater in his corner, talk to me about that.
I already knew that we was going to lose because he was with my fighter, Ronald Gabriel, was with Eddie Mustafa. I did all the work. I put all that work in, right? And he didn't pay me the way he was supposed to. So I was like, I'm not gonna get into this with this guy like that, like I'm not gonna put my whole effort into him. It was like Badu Jack, he was with Eddie Mustafa. You understand? He was with Eddie Mustafa, and I gave him a firm warning. Get rid of him or I'm gone. He got rid of him. Ronald didn't do that. So what happened was, this is the biggest lesson that I'm going to teach you. Alex Arribas was in his corner. I already knew we was going to lose. Right? When he was with Pacquiao, right? They split apart, but he was still doing his thing. Think about this one. Al Heyman was representing Floyd Mayweather. He was, So what happened was, Pacquiao waited till the last minute to fight him, and he got old. What happened was, this is how the game is deep. Pacquiao fought Mayweather, right? For Mayweather, but Al Heyman made sure that he got tested. After Floyd retired, who signs Pacquiao? Al Heyman. And what happens after that?
The fight comes after 10 years. We get the fight.
Now he ain't getting tested. That's real. There's nothing fake about that.
So you were telling me you believe the allegations of Manny Pacquiao using steroids coming up from 108 pounds to 154 pounds. You believe it's true?
Yeah, of course it's true. I know for a fact it's true. How do you bring that power up there with you? You can't.
That's 9 weight classes. That's a 9 weight class jump.
And knocking out Cotto, knocking out Hatton. What do you think? It's common sense.
But do you think he avoided testing, or they were on his side? Because to not to get every great gets caught. Obviously, we've seen Canelo. We've seen all the greats somehow always hit a pothole.
I believe Roy Jones will cheat. Without a doubt. With that power he had and that speed, he had to be cheating. Had to.
Do you feel like people know and they turn the blind eye, or they test who they want to test?
I think they had a blind eye. They just played stupid. Like, let me give you a prime example. Canelo. There was this testing drug, right? This is when I left Badu. Badu was supposed to fight the nigga from the guy. Excuse my language. The guy from Canada. I forgot his name. I always get tongue twisted.
There you go.
When I told Badu about him, I said, "Watch it, he's cheating." When I left him, that was my last fight with him. We won. We got totally robbed. We got robbed. Badly in Canada, right? My point is that when I left Badu, he decided to test Pasquale. That's who it is, Pasquale. When he tested him, they found everything in him. That's special drug testing. That's the same thing what happened to Canelo. WBC banned him. The WBC banned him. Banned, the drug people for keeping it clean.
So it's mostly a sanctioning body thing. Some sanctioning bodies are cleaner than others.
Listen, when I fought Roy Jones, they got over 32,000 for me. Remember, we fought for 3 belts. So what do you think? What do you think Canelo's bringing to the WBC?
Millions of dollars.
Common sense. Come on, put it together.
Put it together. All right. So you believe all the speculations were true. And this is an interesting question for you. With the social media and the exposure and the money now, were you happy with your career, or would you wish that you could fight now with the hunger that you have, like with the skill set that you have and the mind that you have?
You know what? The greatest moment in my career was to win the Golden Glove. That was the greatest moment because then I certified myself as a fighter. When I became world champ, I knew I was going to be that. I knew I was going to be champ. Once I won those Golden Gloves, I knew I was destined to be a world champ. So, what I'm trying to explain to you is that I'm proud of myself. I didn't do this to be famous. I did it to prove something to myself. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, I was a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? The greatest moment was to win the Golden Gloves. I already knew I was going to be world champ after that.
You think there's a fighter retire mentally, or the body retires you first?
I retired myself. I retired. I had the ones I fought. I forgot the guy's name. I'm bad with names.
France, the guy, the guy.
No. I whipped his ass too. I should be 3-time world champ. I got a draw in France. Come on, bro. My point is that I didn't do this to prove to anybody. I did it to prove to myself that I was somebody. That I was that guy. Like I was an athlete. I told you. I knew I was destined for greatness. I knew that this is what I was supposed to be.
And did you know right away you wanted to train, or did you just take some time off and training found you, or you found training?
Well, my last pro fight was at 41 years old. I fought a draw, and that's when I gave it up after that. I felt like I've been blackballed by Joe DeGuardia. You know, I felt, you know what they say? They say that he made more money than me. He got 33% off of me, and he stole 200 from me. He made more money than me.
200,000 a lot was back then was a lot of money.
No, but 33 and a third plus 200, he made more money than me.
Yeah,
I can't make that up. It's a true story. And why I know? Because his partner told me they separated. So these are facts, I'm telling you.
and
So I should have made 1.2 million. I only made 850 plus him taking 33 and a third.
so that's obviously one of the darkest sides in boxing.
Yes.
And boxing today, give me 3 fighters that you think could have fought in your era, when you had a stacked era where at least every division had a Hall of Fame or great caliber fighter. What 3 fighters today you think could have fought in any era? You could just drop him in there, he could be a world champion or compete.
Crawford is one, definitely. Mayweather too, you know. That I've been around that. I was around greatness. I got a check for 30 G's from him when Badu won the title. The reason I didn't leave Badu was because of Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather took care of me. I got 30, 10, 10, and 5. That's what kept me from staying. I didn't want to be in Vegas. I became an alcoholic. You understand? Being in Vegas by myself, no friends, lonely. no travel, nothing.
A lonely man sport.
Yeah, but it was bad because Vegas was bad. The opioid problem over there was the worst. The worst. I know about drugs because I experienced seeing it or doing it. And I saw all the opioid heads walking in Vegas like skeletons. There's a drug spot around my house. And I live in Gosnell. I live in a good area. I got a great house. But I see you walking by. I already know you're a drug head.
Fight. Well, what fights do you want to see happening today that you feel are holding back the sport? What fights you think can elevate Spence Crawford? We got a couple more. I know you got some for me. That's the biggest fight everybody wants to see. But there's other fights I'm pretty sure that you're personally that you think I want to see that they need to make it happen.
Let me explain something to you. I don't give a shit about boxing. I'm just in it because I'm good at it. I'm not in it to watch TV. I don't buy pay-per-view. I don't watch it. I don't give a shit. I just am proud of what I've done, and I'm good at what I do. You gotta remember, I made Badu champ. I made my sister 4-time world champ, 3 weight divisions. I made my brothers Golden Glove champs twice and Golden Gloves. I'm a pure teacher. I'm the realest.
Teacher, that's good.
No, it's real.
It's written in stone. We know it's written in stone. I want to put your eyes so the people can know. I feel like you ain't never get your flowers. You don't, and I wanted to give you that attention.
I don't care about
that. You need your flowers, man. There's trainers with less accolades than you, haven't accomplished nothing that you did in the ring or outside the ring. And with something I wanted to put out there, man.
Hurt people. That's what I teach. My secret in boxing was to hurt people. Like, you see my knuckles again? My whole object was, you're going to come, I'm going to hit you. You're going to feel me. And that's what I teach. I taught that to Badu, I taught that to my sister, and I taught that to my brothers. I taught Ronald.
I got to put you on the spot here. Your top 5 fighters of all time.
My top, Sugar Ray Robinson's got to be number 1. Muhammad Ali's number 2 or 3. You know, Tappy out. He's a friend and a great fighter. He was a true warrior. So those are my guys.
You got a lot of passion. You show tough love. I see, you work with the kids a lot. You always teaching them to the next level.
Right.
Not every kid has a guy like you in the gym or in their corner. What motivation you could give to the youth that's trying to get to the next level? Coming from a person like you that's went pro, has trained world champions, has put straps around people's waist. What message you want to give to the youth that's, right now starting to get into boxing or just currently just doing it right now?
Just be hungry. And remember this. You have your good days and you have your bad days. That's part of life. You gotta take the bad days and you gotta throw them under the rug. You always gotta stay positive. I was about to quit boxing till I woke up in the morning. I lost in the regionals. I got robbed. I lost in the regionals, right? Check this one out. And I was like, I'm not going to do this no more. And back then, they had radios and TVs. Mike Tyson just lost to Buster Douglas.
Upset of all time.
That was the biggest upset ever. He could lose. Fuck it.
Ain't no shame in my game, right?
Yeah.
And what do you prepare a fighter for more? Do you like to prepare a fighter physically first, or do you like to prepare him mentally first?
Both. It's got to be both. They got to both go hand in hand. You got to put the work in, and you got to be mentally strong.
And how do you spot talent in a fighter? Because some people just have that niche where they can know this guy's it. He just needs the right trainer to push him and get him where he needs to go.
Right. What I do is I love, once again. So I would never underestimate any man that decides that they want to fight. Never. If you want to be a fighter and you want me to train you, I'm going to give you 100. You got a chance.
And one last couple questions before we wrap it up. What is one of the things that you feel is a bump in the road for these fighters nowadays? They got more distractions, more money, women, social media. What's something that you see that is a fighter's downfall more today than in your time?
Men, boys, they weak. They have no substance. They don't have no hunger. They mama's boys, 90% of them are mama's boys. They soft. So what I suggest is that you gotta come into this sport with hunger. You gotta really want this.
It's not for the weak. Honey boy, I appreciate your time, big bro. It was a pleasure.